Hi everyone, what's up? We're back. This Bruce Wayne, and I ain't playing. This is the Bruce Wayne Show, and we're back. Hello and welcome back to the Country Road. That's right, this is the Country Road. This is Bruce Wayne, your host of the Grandma Radio Show, and I'm back. How you doing, Central Florida? Here we are. How you doing? I know you're sitting inside just like me, looking crazy with nothing else to do. Well, we're sitting here waiting out Hurricane Ethel as it's going over our head. Yes, it's approaching and it's here on this beautiful Monday in Central Florida. We've got 80%, 90% of rain all week long. So Central Florida, hold back, run on out, get you some movies, drive right, and you'll make it back in. And tell you what, while you're in, stay in. Stay in your lane and stay out of the game this week. Because you need to take the back road, just like the country road that we're on today. Dealing with Donald Trump, we're stuck on the country road. I know you northerners know what we're talking about because we have no health care. We don't have a job and we don't even have minimum wage. Where are we now in Trump's plan? Are we making America great? Well, I think we're making America late. Mad and fuming. That's where we're at. And by the way, has anyone seen Hillary lately? Or any trail of the Democrats? This is Bruce Wayne. And my grandmother would sure like to know what the heck is going on. Or the Democrats just fell flat, or they're out at lunch at this particular time because it seems like the Republicans are just running amok. They're staying in the news. If they're not on, they are gone. They're just the main players. It's almost like 90210. What is going on here with the Republicans? Well, they're just taking the main stage. Is this little house on the prairie or what? We got Michael Landau. We've got everybody taking over, and no one's in the control booth. No one's at the wheel. Quit looking like an android. We don't need an android running the country. We need somebody that's going to stand up that we can relate to, and not a 72-year-old brass ball ass. You know the guy with the brass balls, the one that wants to make everything big again? I thought everything was big in Texas already. But here we go. Okay, let's take an extensive identity break for the station right here for the Grandma Radio Show so we can get paid by some of our sponsors, if you know what I mean. We would like to make some money in Central Florida. So we're going to give a shout out to, you know, Big Belly's Imported Beers. Y'all go on down there if like you're going to Taco Tuesday, right there by that crazy 7-Eleven where you got all the panhandlers at. You go on down to Big Belly's and have you a good time and get you a nice imported beer on the weekend. And if you're going to be staying in, just go there and get your lunch and hang on out. That's Big Belly's downtown, close to the library down there. And if you need some tile work done, well, don't ask me, ask John and Jonathan. That's Tile Tactics over there in Gainesville, Florida. You know, they just completed that nice hotel on 39th Avenue. What a piece of work. That's Tile Tactics. That's John and Jonathan. Check them out over there in Gainesville, Florida. They're looking for work and they will work with you. We're giving you the station identity check, break, and hair comb, blowout, and whatever else you need right now while you're listening to the Bruce Wayne Show. Go ahead if you want a nice look and you're going out to the club, go and get you one of those bracelets or get you one of those Rolexes from Rita Bonita Bracelets and Charms and tell her you heard about her on the Bruce Wayne Show. That's Rita Bonita Bracelets and Charms. Tallahassee, Ruby Williams, that's my mom. We want to give a shout out to you. Tell you to hang on in there through these storms that's going on this weekend. And we're going to be back with some more of the Bruce Wayne Show. So what are we getting on the country road? I'll tell you what we're getting on the country road. We got to wrestle with somebody by the name of Kim Jong-un. That's what we're getting. We got a hard-headed fool who just wants to play with his tools. You know, like some women want to play with their, vibration. Well, here we got this young sawed-off cannon right here, looking like a can of SpaghettiOs, with nothing else to do but to play with a scientific kit. Well, here's something you can do in your free time, Kim Jong. We're going to send some Jehovah's Witnesses over there to have a couple Bible studies with you and get you to sit your toes down, Kim Jong, to get you to sit your Mustardine rocket down. Have you thought about feeding the country, doing something for humanity, Kim Jong, instead of trying to open up a can of whoop pears on you, Kim Jong? Because that's what's going to happen. You keep stirring in the pot of the North. You know how you're stirring in the pot? You just keep stirring on. Pretty soon you're going to be what's for dinner. You're going to be on the menu, Kim Jong-un. Are you understanding the cyber directivity? We're going to send the Jehovah's Witnesses there to sit down and take a week of studying with you. And we're going to leave a couple watchtowers in a wake with you, Kim Jong-un. And we're going to sing some songs with you about Christ. Because, see, you're not getting it. They didn't teach that in the school of death. They didn't teach that in the school of own. You know, the house of pain. You know, I believe you were probably abused as a child, Kim Jong. But you cannot get your way. You couldn't have got your way with your father or your granddad that way. So you cannot burn down the house, Kim Jong, just because you cannot watch the newest version of Disney's Gone with the Wind. See, we could have nipped this in the bud early on with you, Kim Jong, but we didn't. So we're going to have to start out with the Jehovah's Witness, and we can stop this stampede and focusing on foolishness. Yeah, that's a real important theme in Central Florida. That's why we're out here on this country road. Because too many of us down here in the South feel like we have all the time in the world to focus on foolishness. While we got Rick Scott, he doesn't want to raise the minimum wage. He wants us to sit down here on the kumbaya. We can't pay our bills. We can't afford health care. So we're all going to be waiting on Elvis, or we're going to be waiting on a Nicki Minaj concert and see if we can scalp some tickets. We're waiting on Orlando City to win something so we might be able to make some money parking. Because we're not making it with the minimum wage here. Mr. Scotty, it's time to get off the booze, see? We're not flying out anywhere here. We can't even afford to fly here, see? We can't even afford to make it to the airport and get off the ground here with our minimum wage tactics here. Central Florida, we've got to get brand new, and we have to catch up with the times. I'm just saying, I'm just not a local advocate. It's me and the boys are saying these things. And you took everything from us, and you're going to be taking some more. But we're not thinking about the floods. We're just not thinking about the rain, and we're not thinking about what Kim Jong is expecting us to do. And if we're hit by this missile here, this Mustardine, or this ballistic ITIC, what we're going to do here? Well, I think Trump might need to see if we can knock one of these ballistic ball lines out of the sky. Then we can tighten up our britches and pull them up to our necks and act like we got some state-of-the-art ingenuity, like when we're driving boats and doing military exercises in the Sea of Japan. We've got state-of-equipment. We've got state-of-the-art equipment here that we can't even navigate through the channel here. We can't even get around a shipping boat. What's going on, America? We've got to get our military and more exercises if we're going to be beating and flexing up muscles here. And at the same time, I believe we have other countries that want to flex their muscles too. What's going on? Are we having a muscle flex jam over the world right here? Are we trying to solve anything, or we're going to flex our muscles? Is anybody going to fight here? And what are we fighting for? Seems like we got something like the New World Order. We've got a bunch of knuckleheads here, and we need Homie the Clown to straighten it up. Just bend over and let me slap you all across the head. You're all breaking laws and stepping across lines, and you want to pick on NATO. Well, I'll tell you what you're going to need to do. You're going to need to back up and take some of the triangle theory into case. Is someone watching over you? Somebody with the Y chromosome. You remember we have this meteor, we have this anomaly of activity happening in August. And I'm guaranteeing you we're going to be looking or relying on some structuring being done after this. Because if it's not done, this is going to be a sign of a 99-year turnover. There might be some calamities coming our way. Are we going to be prepared as a nation? Are we going to be fidgeting around with the fidgetizer and flexing our gonions and our muscular activities here? Are we just going to be running like doofuses out here? Are we planning? Are we restructuring? Are we in the racy pieces with the Scaramucci's, or what are we doing? I understand the Prince of Camelot is gallivanting around here like he's leading the Union Army. But Camelot, you got to understand, we are not fighting in the 1800s now. We're in the 2000s and we're trying to get a grip. We're trying to please a higher power here like the Y chromosome. We're trying to change things before a new world order has to come in, or before a new calamity has to come from above the skies. Something that we're not ready for. While we're so busy beating and rattling our drums, has anybody read Revelations? Revelation spoke of us getting up until this point, but we're all standing around the fire, and no one has the desire to put the drugs down, come to a conclusion and a solution. Instead, we're looking at more confusion and delusion. Are we all in Las Vegas in the mind, just watching magic acts after magic acts and being fooled after time and time again? Just like my grandma would say, I've seen this before. I've seen the peanut shell game. I know where it is. See, we're just sitting back like Venezuela. We're letting the thugs rise up on us like we're letting the terrorists attack us all the time. All they're trying to do is get into Italy and make some type of theological point. But what is the point when you do not want the will of God to take place? You're wanting to have some dark criteria, some dark objective, and you want to keep the people oppressed. Venezuela. But what happened to the freedom and the voice of the people? This is what the people are saying they want. But here you have Satan coming in like he's ISIS all over again. Is Venezuela the new focal point? Are you sparking and arcing now, Venezuela, with ISIS paying you to turn around and eat at your own people? Are you going to chew your own hand off to get out of the handcuffs? What's going on with your people? I'll tell you what. It's almost like the terrorists that think they're going to get into heaven with a big explosion. And they're going to wake up one morning looking at 21 versions instead of 21 versions of death. I think that's going to be more like it. Well, come on, Central Florida, let's take an identity break. First, I'd like to say thanks for tuning in, Canada. I know you're out there in Morocco. You need to be watching the skies. Is that where all the ships are, Morocco? You need to be having the best vocal point this August. Morocco, Ethiopia, China, and Japan. Kim Jong-un, what are you going to do with nuclear fallout in your country? Are you prepared for that, Kim Jong-un? Well, I'll tell you what, for all you Britons out there that like the Mortal Kombat, you know you got the terrorists still there around you and planning the next attack like Australia. What you might want to do when you're vacationing in Orlando, go over there at 1016 and check out Michael Bell. Over there by the Broken Conjurer. You know, by the drinking spot? Go over there by the American Combat Club and get some training. Some non-weapon training. Something you can fight the terrorists with. Some real karate, combat, Mortal Kombat, UFC training from our local homegrown Michael Bell, 10-time European champion. That's right, 10-time champion. Homegrown Michael Bell, 1016 Central Avenue, over by the Black Cauldron, the best drinking spot for your home brewed beer. You also have the Minotaur Maze when your Brits are in town, or your local tours are in town, or you're in town and just visiting Orlando, Florida, and you want to get into something. Go over there and check out the Suites of the Deadly D, the 3D dimensional suites. You got the American Combat Club. You got the best home brew for your defense. And you got the mind game of the Mortal Maze. Go on over there on 1016. Check out Michael Bell. Homegrown champion. That's Michael Bell. He can knock you out. He can teach you the roundhouse. $35 a session. Go ahead and check out the American Combat Club. You want to be a UCF fighter like Jon Jones? I'll just say peace out to Jon Jones. Ron Jones just came back like we all can when we're trying to come back from drugs. You know, drugs are taking out a lot of American people and got you walking around like an android. Who in your mind would think you would have a synthetic drug come along and outdo an herbal supplement? But here we are, folks. We're in a different time. We got different things going against us. We're no longer using our 5 senses, our 5 ways to get out of peril. Like the Zoltan with that 5-finger death punch. We're just not thinking. Just like the police officer that just wants to pull his gun and shoot across his partner like he's some crazy fool. Why don't you go ahead and pistol whip your partner trying to get after the rape suspect? Go ahead, he's just your partner. You don't have no regard for your fellow citizens. This is not Barney Fife, and this is definitely not Barnaby Jones, but I bet you he's got a manual out there for the one-shot program that none of these police officers are understanding at all. And we got funky because we want to be funny. But I don't think a Y chromosome is going to want to get funny when he jumps down on you with a flood, or when he jumps down on you with a little bit of something for Sodom and Gomorrah. But you want to play with a funny bone. You want to be shaped both ways. You want to be shaped this way, and you want to be shaped that way. Well, some things that you're going to have to change if you're going to want to get out of that drug-induced whirlwind you're in, because see, Satan's in there with you. His desire is not for you to have any fire. You're just a perfect animation. I think what we need to do is start getting on the knees and praying a little bit more. Check out Pastor Abad Perez on Spreaker.com. Come on, people, tune in more on Spreaker.com and check out the Bruce Wayne Show. And quit being on that country road in your life like you don't have no damn sense. Put the goddamn Mario down, look around, put down the crack pipe. Look up. You're on a goddamn country road on a 65 Cadillac, and you're knee deep in mud. And you can't get out. And there ain't no cell phone for you to call no one. What are you going to do? Well, that's what it is when you're in a situation with a Trump. And you're in a situation with some methamphetamines and maybe some Molly too. Where are you going to be at? And how are you going to get back to civilization? Where are you going to be like that person on the country road? No one's thinking about you. And Mr. Medicare, Mr. Medicine Man is not thinking about you either. You just left. Ain't no minimum wage for you. Well, the migrants are trekking you by. Who are those people walking you by that might be to push you up the mud hole that you're in on the country road? You know that back lane, because you want to take a shortcut because you couldn't stay in your lane. But now look where you're at. You're on the country road, booking down with no communication. Well, we don't even know if you're a citizen. By the time we get to you and you walk back to town, you might not even look like one of us. Are you even part of the system? Do we even know who you are? What is going on in America? Where is the real fiber of America? Are we Russian all of a sudden? Or are we just falling for this? Well, Mr. Casey predicted this a long time ago. Like 100 years, but we're still fumbling it with the paperwork. We don't want to hear the news. We don't want to taste the lemon meringue pie. Because we know it's good. But they're taking it away from us place by place, like in Venezuela. Is United States going to be the next Venezuela? The last I heard, everything was going good. What my grandma was saying, the next thing you know, well, it's just like trying to get in your car and driving to D.C. from Tallahassee. You can't do it no more unless you know the weather report. Why the gods of thunder are liable to sink you before you even hit Colorado. Did you even check the map? Were you smoking? Were you smoking Molly's? Where are we, people? Where are we going? Let's take a station break and switch back to sports. Are we going to be called? Can we play defense in our life? Are we going to be like the Orlando City Lions? We're having a good time and laying back, and all of a sudden, they're in on us. Ain't no practicing, ain't no luxury. And all of a sudden, we're sobered out. We don't even want to be sober anymore. We're so drunk with the success of the life. Till they sneak up on us and choke us on out. And then we're on that country road, people. Come on back. And thank you and stay tuned for the Bruce Wayne Show.